We talked about this, and you know, I kind of feel like the same way. I got a call from a couple of artists after our show, and they were saying that, you know, you discover a young artist, you give him a chance to be on his video, and then after the video drops with you, the artist is nowhere. We've discussed this about a lot of artists that have come in, and you guys don't know how to run. You guys don't know how to campaign. And again, it's being spoon-fed. So you think that having an artist, a known artist coming to you for a feature is going to help you out. That artist, there are very few artists that are going to help you out, especially if they're older than you. They are doing it because it benefits them so they can latch onto your audience, which is why I said I would prefer to speak about artists opening up the industry where no features are concerned, where an artist doesn't receive anything. And I kind of wavered last time, but I still stand on that same thing. And I'll tell you why. Because if I feature you on a song, I'm only creating a rat for this race of the music industry. Featuring you on a song, or me being on your song, doesn't help you. I'm just making you a pawn of the game again. Why I need artists to do something without them benefiting, especially something of this nature? Why haven't hip-hop artists in Johannesburg opened up platforms to release information? Because what opens up an industry is not a feature. Like I said, you just become a rat in the race. What opens up the industry is information. And our elderly statesmen of hip-hop have not passed down the information to you guys. And with that said, again, there's a lot of people were attacking me, and people get it wrong. There's a difference in escalating the industry. Every guy that has come into the South African hip-hop industry that is on right now has elevated the industry, but there are very few of them that have opened it up. Information, if I give you information, your mind opens up, then you attack the industry in a different way. And I am a politician. I am a revolutionary politician artist, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. But I believe that this music is going to set us free. This is why I'm in it. Where politics have failed, I feel like this music has that chance. And from my elderly statesmen of hip-hop, I admire what you've done. I've talked and said it openly. I've SMS'd you, I've WhatsApped you, I've DM'd you, everything. What I need from you guys now is to leave the artist vibe and be some revolutionaries for this young generation.
I had the same convo. I think it's the same artist, right?
Definitely the same artist.
You know, I kind of agree with what he said, right? And it's one of those, I think, Scoop, for me at the end of the day, if I am a quester and I jump on your song, I'm exposing you to a whole different market, right? My issue, and I agree with what he said, is that how much more should I give you, right, as the young kids? Because I've already opened up. I talk to you about such things, but one, do these guys know who the compilers are? Do these guys go find out who works at MTV, right? Do these guys ask about publishing? They don't, right? There's so much in love with being the superstar. That's my biggest issue, right? Number one, they'll never fucking support each other. If one kid says, I'm having a gig or whatever, they'll never support. I remember, and I even still do it now, even your father would even tell me that, dude, even if a gig pays me $3,000, sorry for exposing, but yeah, a gig pays me $3,000, I will still wake up and go because that gig will open me to 10 other more people, right? So a lot of the time I find is the kids will say, I charge 30,000 to Rustenburg, and the guy's like, I've only got 15, and it's like, hell no, I'm not going there. Whereas I would wake up and say, yo, I am coming out there, right? So it's laziness, right? And it's a demand of being a superstar. So I do think that the guys jumping on songs, yes, it's a platform to, yes, come through. It's what the other guys, they don't do to build the industry. I promise you, it's going to take another OG to shift the industry right now again.
I definitely agree with you. I do agree with you. The youngsters, I get you. I agree with you. I mean, the same artist we spoke to, and he was right. I wasn't looking at what the young kids are not doing. The conversation was, are our old statesmen doing enough to open it up? And in them finding a problem with the youngsters, I, as their peer, who can challenge the game, because the game can only elevate if we clap and challenge it at the same time. We can't just clap. You have to challenge them. So yes, where they talked about the young kids, they are correct. I agree with them. You guys don't support each other. You guys aren't knowledgeable. We've touched on laziness. The crux of the matter and the question was, are our older statesmen doing enough to open it up? And where I was coming from is, I don't think they are. So again, when an older statesman comes and calls me and he talks about what a young kid isn't doing, I agree with them. But now I want to ask them to do things of this nature. It's not, for me, it's not about the feature. Yes, it does help, but I would love them because they've all done that, but I don't see them sharing information and they're all making money. Case in point, a very famous artist in South Africa was doing a DSTV talk to media houses of DSTV. Now that artist is giving information to agencies. Where is he giving information to the kids so they can check the agencies? Now you're giving them all of our skills. Now they're going to go back and rewrite the rule book on how to enslave the artists because you just gave them the whole blueprint. Had you checked that and then be in the hood and then, wherever, and like this, it doesn't cost much. They all have sponsors. All their sponsors could combine and have a talk like this where they could share information. I don't see much of that happening.
I don't think an artist is an artist developer. I don't think it's their responsibility to actually put on any other artists. I think their responsibility is to make the best art they can make. I don't think we ever judge Picasso by how many other painters he trained. We judge him by the quality of his work. Da Vinci, doesn't matter. I could name even African artists. We don't say Nelson Mandela must now bring us 10 other painters to paint in New York for us to actually say he's doing great work. So I think we need to understand that there are separate roles within our industry and everyone needs to play whatever role that they're playing to the best of their ability. There are artist developers. I myself am an artist developer. I'm a record producer, songwriter, composer. I do a lot of things because this music business doesn't really give you much money unless you do a lot of things, right? So I had to learn all those skills. And that has to do with luck. And that's something that I feel like the panelists have not also spoken about. I'm a very lucky person. Anyone you know that is famous is very lucky. Speedsta is very lucky. There are lots of DJs that I saw coming up around the same age group as his, some of them even better than him. But he's the one who's on a national radio station with a platform. Miss Cosmo, when she started out, wasn't the greatest DJ. She worked her way up. She got her lucky break. And now she's on a national platform on a radio station. Vigilante used to do parties that I wasn't even allowed to get into when I was too young. Back in the day.
I used to carry speakers, me.
Yeah, he used to carry speakers. But before he carried those speakers, he used to be, hosting a party called the Liberation Party, which I was too young to get into at that point in time, but I always wanted to get into. But he got his lucky break and he got lucky. And another thing you need to counter in is that sometimes you just don't get lucky. The guy in the pink top who stood up earlier, your only problem is that you haven't gotten lucky. Like, for real. You haven't gotten lucky. And the point is that there could be 10,000 rappers, but not 10,000 are going to make it. You know what I mean? A lot of it has to do with luck. So I've heard the L word being used. That's the wrong L word. That laziness, people are lazy. There's a lot of luck that is not going around.
No doubt. Great points. Great points from a very knowledgeable man. I would like to add on those points and say in your first statement that artists are not artist developers. I didn't ask for any established artist to develop any artist. I asked for established artists to share information. There's a difference there. Secondly, when you say, we don't judge Picasso because of how many painters he's brought in. The reason is, I told you I'm a revolutionary type of thinker. Picasso is in Europe. He does not share the same burdens as African artists. So as an African, no matter what you do, you make sure you're paving the way for the next generation. Picasso didn't have to think about it because he's from Europe. We are not. Thirdly, luck. There's also an English saying that says, you make your own luck.
Thank you very much for these discussions. They were very much needed. I think you mentioned, Nota mentioned some of us not doing our research, not knowing certain things. We're learning. We're also learning, you know. We're learning each and every day. We don't know it all. We have said this from the jump. I think especially with the Durban points, when we put up that episode, Durban felt like we were attacking them. And it's like, no, we're not attacking you. We're chatting. We're speaking, you know. So I think leaving this room, I hope everybody understands that this is an engagement, and I hope you took something from this conversation. It wasn't just a thing of a back and forth of that one thinks they're better or that one thinks they're fucking, whatever the fucking case is. I just hope everybody learned from this. And I think for me personally, what I want to say in closing, believe it or not just us here, but a lot of the people, I will speak for myself, that I am involved in when it comes to my music or whatever I do in entertainment, I am constantly on the phone, you know. I am constantly on the phone, whether it be I fucking tweet Questa's manager and say, why the fuck are you putting me on your show? They're calling me and saying, why are you tweeting and you're not calling? And you're not telling us this on the phone, you know? And it's something I've come to learn over, I'd say, the past year, is that it's very important for us as Durban, Limpopo, fucking wherever the fuck you're from, for us to all get on the phone and speak and call and say, yo, Speedsta, so-and-so is happening in my town. What do you think of it? Lab, I don't know. I actually don't know. Let me try and, I don't know. What the fuck? I don't know, maybe I'll compare it to something that's happening in my space. But let's chat. When we leave this room, let's get on the phone. If you're an artist, get yourself a manager that is able to reach him as Cosmo, that is able to reach a Scoop Makhathini, that is able to ask questions. Because like I said, it doesn't help that we fucking sit here all night and we don't have answers and we're not moving forward. So from me, I want to ask that we please get on the phone, number one. And number two, if you're watching this and you can help us do a South African festival where we can all come together, please do help us.